Hello everyone, welcome back to Velocity Verdict. And today we have a little bit of a different video. We are not gonna be doing any car review today, but basically you guys know that I own the 2005 Toyota Camry that I bought used. And thank you so much for your support on that video. That video has reached 1100 views. I appreciate every single one of you who have watched their video. But today, as you could probably tell, we are going to discuss an ownership update. This used 2005 Toyota Camry that I purchased about 1.5 years ago. So, yeah, I know it's been 1.5 years, but this is the update video. I did make a full car review type video on this, and that's the first video on my channel, the 2005 Toyota Camry. But I'll include the link in the description and in the end screen, so you can go and check that out. So, I'm not gonna be going in too much detail, but I have, like, since that video, I have about like 5,000 to 6,000 miles on the odometer, somewhere between that. It was at 143,500, but now the odometer has 149,381 miles that I'm going to show you in a bit. But we are going to discuss what all problems I faced during that duration that I drove this thing, and what are the advantages, disadvantages, and stick around till the end for the final verdict to know that was it a good decision to buy this used, or do I regret it? So stick around till the end for that. And without any further ado, let's start with the mileage update. So this car, with the looks, I'll just do a quick walk around for the looks so you have a general idea how the 2005 model looked. So at the front, it's quite base. Like, yeah, for a 2005 car, I actually love the looks of this thing. It's, yeah, looks pretty cool from the side as well. And moving on to the back, this is the back. So yeah, this car is quite powerful, and this has a V6 engine that produces 210 horsepower. So yeah, the engine is quite powerful, but more on the technical side of things later in the video. I'm also going to be doing a drive review to share how, like, how does it drive. After that milestone, it almost has 150,000 miles. But now, if I start with the positives, I would say, like, some of the scratches that you see, if you go and see my previous review, those were still there. Like, paint chips and all, those were there the day I bought the car. So yeah, and this thing was also broken that time. So overall, I would say in the last year and a half, and about 5 to 6,000 miles, the exterior has held up pretty good, and I don't see any more, like, uh, dents or scratches, and I don't see more paint peeling off the car. So according to that, like, the condition it was, the outside condition is kind of similar to it. Let me show you the turn signal indicators of. But now, moving on to the interior to see how the interior has held up. So I would say the door panels, I mean, this is one of the more reliable Toyotas with the 2005 model. So I would say this cloth leather trim up here, and I don't see any scratches on the door, and I would say this leather trim also held up pretty good. Before we move forward with this ownership review, I just want to mention, if you want to see more videos just like this and more car reviews, I recommend you subscribe because I post unique content for you, and I have some crazy things planned for the channel in the future. So to help me achieve that, please hit that subscribe button. And guys, let me know down in the comments, do you want me to make more ownership content for you guys? Like, for example, if I end up keeping this car, I can film it when it hits 154,000 miles. So I can make, like, this ownership content for you every 5,000 miles. Like, if I buy a new car, I'll try to shoot the delivery vlog for that the day I buy the car. But after that, I can make, like, every 5,000 miles, I can make like an ownership review. If I look at these seats, so basically, yeah, I am alone most of the time that drives, and sometimes a person sits on the front seat. But other than that, yeah, I would say because the back row was technically never used, maybe like once it has been used. So obviously there's no wear and tear here, but you do have a storage pocket still up here. And now let's check out the front doors. If you want to see how the engine looks of this car and torque and all it gets, you can see my review that I'll include at the end of the video in the end screen and the description. And I would say for the driver door, that opens and closes a lot of time. So yeah, so far it's being held up pretty good. It's kind of similar to the day I bought the car, but this thing is kind of popping out from the side. But other than that, the one positive is the power adjustable seats with the lumbar support still work fine to this date. And you can see like some wrinkles on the leather seats and like kind of scratches and all. So yeah, the leather seats have been weared out. The driver leather seat is kind of, in a, you can say, kind of being used since it's used a lot. So that is going to show some wear and tear in 5,000 miles. But the passenger seat, which is also kind of used less, but still used compared to the back seats, I would say those held up better. And they're kind of like same, they're in the same condition I bought it. Now I'm going to start this up and show you the mileage. It had 143,500 miles when I recorded my like car review for that. And let's see what the mileage is on this. So starting on, you can hear all of that. So the mileage now is 149,381 miles. So I would say it has gone at least 5,000 miles. So it's, you can treat this as a 5,000 to 6,000 mile between update. I meant to make it at 5,000 miles, but due to some reason it just skipped my head that you guys might be interested in this. So sorry for the delay. I'll be more on it next time. But the first advantage I would say is these heated seats work pretty fine, and those kind of heat quite quickly. And but you see how this is kind of like broken. So this is kind of broken the day I bought the car. So nothing too fancy there. The cup holder works fine. This is the shifter, automatic gear shifter. Not much wear and tear on that, except like little bit wear and tear on the top of the button. The armrest held up pretty good, and yeah, armrest works fine, held up pretty good. And then we do have a sun visor. Yeah, the sun visor also looks good, held up pretty nicely. And if I get out, we do have a sunroof with this, and the sunroof controls. So we do have a sunroof. Sunroof held pretty good. So I did run into some problems with this car. So if you take that into consideration, this is how the sunroof. So yeah, I'm glad the sunroof hasn't given me any problems as of now. Let's start with the smaller problem. So the first small problem I encountered was the backup camera works fine. I can kind of show it to you. The resolution is good, backup camera works fine, no problem in that. But since this is kind of like the same time I made the review video, you can see it's stuck on the dash like that. So the stickiness of that is kind of coming out. So I've kind of uh, pushed it in. But other than that, the claimed fuel economy on this is supposed to be 20 miles per gallon in the city and 24 on the highway. I know that's not the case, but right now the average I am getting is 10.1 miles per gallon. And the one of the reasons for that is like I don't have highway driving at all. I mostly drive in the city. I only have city driving, and my commuting distance is like close by, and there's mostly like I'm stopping on traffic lights, and the maximum speed is like 35 miles per hour where I travel, sometimes 45 miles per hour area. So whenever I go towards the 45 miles area, I can get up to what, like 13 miles per gallon. But otherwise it's like, yeah, 10 to 11. But other than that, this is the fuel indication. And I would say there's some wear and tear on the steering wheel. Not that much, but the most used part of a car, especially if you're the one driving, like some nicks over here. I would say the physical stocks have held up pretty well, especially for the wipers. But for the lights, just the light symbol is being rubbed. But other than that, held up pretty good. But I did have to go to Harrisburg for some work, so I did drive this mile. I did drive this car about what, I don't remember, maybe like around 2 to 3,000 miles in like 3 months. I kind of drove like the major there, and that had high speed, like about 50 miles per hour every day. I used to travel about like 10 miles one direction, 10 miles coming back. So 20 miles a day driving this car, and the average would have been 30 because on like sometimes I used to drive more. So 20 miles a day I used to drive this car, and that involved 50 miles per hour speed limits, due to which the maximum fuel efficiency that this gave me was like when I used to drive between that roads, it used to give me 18 miles per gallon. So when I made the review video, I did mention that it doesn't give me over 13, and I was kind of it's too low, but it's a V6 engine, so I was kind of ready for the low mileage, but I didn't expect it to be that low. But once I drove it 3 months in Harrisburg, kind of like higher speeds, then I came to know this can get up to 18 miles per gallon, depending on the speed you drive it. And the day I went from here to Harrisburg, it was like US 3, it was like kind of like a state highway, and a highway distance that time it gave me 21. So actually, the maximum mileage it has given me is 21 miles per gallon. So quite impressed with the fuel economy that time, but not impressed right now. Other than that, one of the other problems it had is the it was leaking oil. Its engine was leaking oil, so I did get like the oil valve cover replaced on this car, and that did cost a good amount. That did cost about like $1,300, including labor, to fix the oil leak problem with the valve gas cover, and then like the spark plugs on it. So because the spark plugs, it was an old car, the spark plugs got brittle as they were removing components, because the V6 engine was a complex engine, so I had to remove some parts from the top to access the valve cover at the bottom. So that is one additional, I would say, cost that I have incurred to fix this car over the original cost I bought it for. And essentially, till now, I spent $1,300 on it. So, and there has been two services done on this every 6 months. So, the two services about a year. It's not been like 1.5 year fully right now, but in the second service, these wiper plates were replaced since they got worn out. But the problems they mentioned in the second service, I was kind of shocked. I guess it's time for me to finally, I might have to get rid of this after like 6 months max, because otherwise, this is going to be a money pit in the future. It's going to cost a lot to fix. So, one of the things they pointed out is the suspension up front. Like the front suspension is wearing out, and they said like the max it can last is up to a year, and that thing is like 3 months. So this can last more, what, like 9 months more the front suspensions can last, but those have to be changed. Other than that, they pointed out like the oil pan is getting loose underneath the car, so that has to be changed. But they said they like use the tools to tighten it into place, so it does like kind of work. So I'm glad the dealership I bought this car, they have like good service, and they didn't charge to like replace the oil pan as of now. So good job to them. So for the front, they said the back suspension is fine, but just the problems with the front suspension. And one of the other problems that is there in the car, but its warning lights don't pop up every time, is you guys might be knowing how whenever the oxygen cylinder has to be replaced, there is three lights that pop up: a check engine light, a VSC light, and the traction off light. The traction off light and VSC light are up over here, and the check engine light is down there. So I don't know what happens with the car, but when I'm driving, it automatically comes on in the middle sometimes. And like right now, I'm making the video, and now it's not gonna show up. So as I was saying before, These were the lights I was talking about, the check engine light and the traction off and VSC light that light up due to the oxygen sensor needing replacement. Now it's finally on after I went for like a 2 mile drive. These did pop on, so I thought just before I end the video, I would show it to you guys so you can see that what I was saying is kind of true. Show up. So that is one problem. The oxygen cylinder is does have to be replaced on this car, and the reason I know it's because of the oxygen cylinder is because when I had fixed this car, like when I had replaced the valve cover, then they said like the check engine light. I checked when I was driving out of the dealership, I saw a check engine light, so I thought, let me check it once because I've already paid for the service. And then they said it was for like the oxygen cylinder, so I was kind of relieved. I don't have to spend more money for the time being. So needs to be replaced. So these are the major problems that I faced on this car till now. I don't know, but when I'll do the drive review, stick around for the drive review. When I do the drive review and I kind of turn the steering wheel, it makes a weird noise like a screeching noise, or how do I explain it? When I drive and turn, you guys might be able to hear the sound, that weird sound. It's that sound. This is the sound that's coming, and I'm noticing this sound for the past, what, one day? I think it started yesterday. So, you guys let me know down in the comments. Do you think I should buy a new car or fix the problems that this car has that I pointed out? So far, these are the only problems I faced. But the positive points are that these leather seats are quite comfortable. I know like Camry is meant for luxury. I mean, not that much luxury. The new ones are more luxurious, but the seats are quite comfortable. I think it's one of the most comfortable sedans in its class. So I'm actually quite impressed with the comfort of the seats. And I drove like 2 hours continuously. I didn't feel tired at all. And usually I don't feel like tired driving this. So it's quite like the comfort is good and the grip of the steering wheel is also good, though it's like more basic materials, but it's good. And then you could see I did discuss about the screen, the phone holder, and the backup camera in my review video also, that I'll leave the link and you can check out. But man, other than its stickiness going out, this back camera is clear and hasn't given me a single problem by now, by God's grace. So I'm thankful for that. So overall, I've had kind of like a smooth experience with this thing. But now after this, I'll make you hear its exhaust that's there. This is from the inside, but there will be a clip of the exhaust from the outside. And then we are going to do like a short drive review. And then after that, I'm going to tell my verdict, that what do I feel like. Do I thought it was a waste to buy this car, or am I happy with it so far? So for the final verdict, stick around. And now let's see how this thing drives. Just a small drive review. The seats are quite comfortable and the steering wheel movement is quite smooth, and this steering wheel is not heavy by any means. So turning this is easy and the grip is solid on it as well. It's a evening time, so there are a lot of there's some traffic coming from there. Yeah, now it's clear. Now we can go it. We are just gonna turn around after this light. So the handling is smooth for the car, and since it is a V6 engine, it has 210 horsepower as I mentioned in the beginning. So if I take that into consideration, the pickup of this car is next level, and because of it has a V6 engine, it's kind of peppy enough to get you going. And so even though it's not meant for like downtown based roads, but on the highway you can easily catch up to like speeds of 70, and it's quick in its response. It's not a fast car by any means, but at least for a economic car, it's one of the most like comfortable. And now they don't have V6 engines, but with the hybrids, at least you have a great mileage. But with the V6 engines, is fast enough for the acceleration, and the suspension on it is comfortable as well. This is kind of a busy street at this moment, but the acceleration is smooth, fast, and the car is in such a proportion that even if you like press the accelerator slightly harder, it is gonna pick up at the speed like how much a 210 horsepower car should pick up. And but it's not like it will throw you onto the seat at the back with full force. And even the braking on this car is solid. It has good brakes. And now we are about to finish the drive. After we are going to check the suspension. There are like 2 3 bumps coming up ahead that would help for the to see how bumpy the ride would be in the suspension. So just after we cross this crossing, the speed bumps are gonna come. These seats are so comfortable that you're not gonna feel the ride at like you're not gonna feel tired at all, especially if you drive like if you have more long drives in that. Like Camry is one of the most comfortable car. And now for the suspension, this is the first speed bump that comes. You need these are some bigger, these are quite big speed bumps, so you need to take slow off it, otherwise the car kind of bounces, has a more bouncy to it, kind of like this. These are big bumps, so you need to go very slow, like about 5 miles per hour on it, otherwise you can feel how it feels. And that's all for the drive review. And let me know
And
down in the comments what do you think about the drive review on this. And I don't know if you could feel it through the camera, but it was a smooth ride. But now, finally, for the final verdict, um, I would say it's a decent car. I know Toyotas are reliable and all, but the reason I'm saying decent is because of some of the problems. I inquired if it was like the if I would have encountered less problems with it, then definitely I would be more happy with this car. But overall, at least with the looks, I'm okay with the looks. But with the comfort of it and the pleasure, I kind of get pleasure driving this. But with the comfort and the, you can say, the smooth acceleration and all, overall I'm quite happy with the car. And I would say, like, just be careful when buying a used car. If you consider buying a used car, even if it's a Toyota that they consider reliable, it's best to like take a mechanic with you or get it thoroughly checked. Like, I believe that's one mistake I did while buying this. I didn't take a mechanic to check if there were any problems before buying it. So yeah, but that's my honest opinion. So for the final verdict, I would say that bring a trusted mechanic with you to check if there are like any hidden problems in the car, like oil leaks or something. And other than that, I would say I'm pretty happy with the car so far, except the mileage. Yeah, mileage is a concern. Like the fuel economy I'm getting is not the best. So 10 miles per gallon I feel is too low for a sedan. So that's just my opinion on it. But other than the fuel economy, I would say, yeah, this car is quite good. At least it didn't leave me stranded anywhere in the middle of the road. So for that, I give it almost full marks. And I actually enjoy driving this. So overall, I would say it was worth it. I do not regret buying this car. The only thing I regret is not taking a mechanic to check the things that were pointed out, like the oil, especially the oil leak. If you guys
because
enjoyed this video, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and Let me know down in the comments how do you like this review. So yeah, finally I would say I'm quite impressed with it, and I would say it was worth it. I don't regret buying this, but it's best to have a second person look at the car from the dealer you're buying it. So if you enjoyed this video, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and stay tuned for more videos on my channel. Thank you so much for watching. I'm gonna see you guys in my next video. Thank you for all your support.